Joe Schuppler founded Independent Birmingham in 2013, and it was off the back of one of his friends was running Independent Liverpool, and so it was off the sort of the success of that. And he spoke to him and said, "Well, actually, can I launch Independent Birmingham?" And really, it's become I wouldn't say a bit of a runaway success. I would say it's become a massive success. I mean, the actual newsletter itself's got 100,000 people subscribed to it, and I think I'll probably class that as quite a big success. But rather than just the subscribers, it's more than that. It's made Birmingham a destination to come to because of the indie scene that it's propelling, and that's a massive amount of influence and a success story that obviously is good for Independent Birmingham, but is awesome for the city and is good for our independence. So the membership card, which I'm a member of it, gives you discounts and offers for an amazing amount of independent venues and places that I personally love going to the city, like Sturchley Wines and Loki Wines and Indian Brewery and Cho Red's, Laggy's Deli, those kind of places. They've all been supported by the programme, and it gets people, importantly for me, out of chains and into places that are being run by people with a passion that matter. So here to speak on the founding and running of Independent Birmingham, please welcome to the stage, everyone, Joe Schuppler.
Hi, Jim. Thanks for having me. Yeah, just a quick correction. We have 10,000 newsletter subscribers. We have 100,000 different visitors to the website per month, but I just thought I'd put that out there because it sounds crazy amazing to have 100,000 people signed up to a newsletter, but it is 10,000 and 100,000 unique visitors to the website per month. So for those of you who don't know, I am Joe and I run Independent Birmingham, which is a website, membership scheme and events company that celebrates independent culture in Birmingham and champions the city. As Jim touched on, I went to Liverpool University and my friend co-founded Independent Liverpool. And when I was there myself, I kind of went out on all the independent bars and pubs and restaurants and things like that, especially during the second and third year, as I began to kind of explore the city that I was, calling my home for the 3 years that I was there. And I found they had such a kind of unique atmosphere, and they were so different to anything else I'd experienced that it kind of, started this real passion within myself. And I've come from Birmingham. I've lived here my whole life, and I decided that after university I'd move back home, and I didn't know a single independent. I was kind of wandering around the city, and I thought, wow, like this is something I'm hugely passionate about, and I don't know a single independent. And I just thought to myself, if that's the case, and if I'm this passionate and I don't know about these places, and there are other people who would like to know about them, and I can help connect those people to the independents and vice versa. So I talked to my friends, and that was it. And then kind of, the early days, which were 7 days a week, 12, 13, 15 hours a day, sat at a laptop trying to kind of build the brand, because the whole ethos behind it was to encourage people to get out of their houses, off their sofas, and out and about in the city to explore its lesser known aspects, and to, rediscover Birmingham and fall in love with their city all over again. And so it started off as a fairly simple blog. I'm not going to lie, sometimes I see visuals from back then and snapshots, and it looks pretty terrible. But I went out and about, and I discovered these places that I thought were really interesting, and I thought other people would want to know about. And I started writing about them, building the social media pages, all with the thought that I would eventually bring out the Independent Birmingham membership card, which was the first product from Independent Birmingham. So I spent about 8 to 9 months building the brand before I approached independents to talk about the Independent Birmingham membership card. And I just said to them, look, I have this terrific kind of social media following and database of people who want to explore the city and who I'm actively encouraging to get out there and support local. And this is a scheme that I really believe in, that I think has legs and can encourage even more people to get out and about and support local. So for those of you who don't know much about Independent Birmingham, the Independent Birmingham membership card was a credit card sized plastic card that had a wonderful piece of artwork from a local artist on the back. We changed the artist each year, and it enabled the owner to get various discounts and deals at over 100, 125, 135 different independents across the city. So it's a way for people to kind of, have a pride in the like local independent scene and own this wonderful piece of artwork for your pocket, but it also encouraged them to get out there and support local. And yeah, I mean, like I launched it with a fairly like not the biggest social media audience that I probably should have. And for the first year and a half, no one really cared about it much. So I kind of sat to my laptop for a long time and made people care. And yeah, since its inception in 2014, when I launched the IB card, until the last one before we launched the digital version, which is the Independent Birmingham app, we managed to sell over 50,000 cards. So that's a tremendous amount of people who have purchased this product and have used it to explore Birmingham, support local, and support the local economy and the local heroes behind that. And then following on from that, we launched the Independent Birmingham app, which was always the plan, but people loved the physical card and they loved the artwork aspect of it, and they loved the simplicity of it. But for me, launching the app made it more of a complete product. We went from a card that you pulled out of your pocket and chose the independent on arrival to a piece of technology that gave you an interactive map of the city. It lists all 140 plus different independents who are currently on the app, and it categorizes them by area, what they are, and which day you'd like to go visit. And there's also a wish list where you can create your own to visit list. So now that lockdown's hopefully coming to an end and places are reopening in April and May, you can go on your app, you can put a star next to the independents that you want to visit first, and make a fun game of visiting all these places on your wish list. And then once you've done that, you create a whole new wish list. So that's the bare bones of it, and that's the main product of Independent Birmingham. But alongside that, we have an event side where we launch. We've done a number of events across the year. I know Jim from one of the pub quizzes that we did at Bigworth Dining Club, where his friend stood up and gave the Aragon speech in front of the Black Gate to win an IB card. And on top of that, we've thrown 6 or 7, I can't remember which, the years all blur into one, but we've thrown some really fun foodie events across the years. The biggest ones are the Independent Birmingham Festival at Aston Hall and the one at the Bond, where we curate a weekend-long celebration of all things independent in Birmingham. We're talking pop-up restaurants, street food, cocktail bars, craft beer, microbreweries, and kind of a whole market hall of independent retailers and artists, bakers and makers. And then we get amazing live bands to come down and play on the main stage, and it really is like a wonderful celebration of the city of Birmingham and the independents who are the heart and soul of that. So we do that as well. And then the most visual aspect of the business is the fact that we're a go-to guide to discovering independence in Birmingham. So you may have seen us on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We're constantly trying to find new places that we think people will be excited to visit and excited to discover, and just encouraging people in general to get out there, rediscover their city, and support local in the meantime. And we currently have over 125,000 followers across Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and we reach between 2 to 2.5 million people per month, and sometimes it's more than that. And that's something that I've noticed during lockdown has increased, as there's a kind of more prevalent trend towards supporting local independence. I think lockdown's kind of shown people what they do and don't enjoy, and it's shown people the importance of supporting local. And that's something that They've been able to discover Independent Birmingham and gone, well, what's local to me? And we've kind of created this go-to guide that's enabled people to, go out and discover their city. And it's also connected the independents to the audience as well, which is terrific, because a lot of independents over lockdown have had to, they've had to adapt. And like during the first one, no one really kind of had a clue what was going on. And the government was kind of imposing a lot of restrictions and then taking them away. And it was a very confusing time for the independents who were thinking, how am I going to survive? Because whilst all this is going on and they're all closed, rent is accruing. You hear about rent holidays, but it doesn't mean they don't pay it. It just means that it accrues into a lump sum that they have to pay later down the line. So a lot of people are asking as well, how can we support local during lockdown? And so we curated this massive guide that we thought would help people connect our brilliant audience to the brilliant independents in Birmingham, and showed them the places that were offering takeaways and collection or deliveries to their door. If people aren't kind of confident to go out and about and go somewhere to physically get a takeaway or collect something, they could get it delivered to their door. And it wasn't just food and drink as well, because obviously people love food and drink, and I do as well. But Birmingham's independent scene is much more than that. And so we kind of included the creatives who, offer brilliant wares themselves. And there was everything on there. There's lifestyle, there's baked goods, there's drinks, there was, artwork for your home, Brum merch. And it's one of our highest read articles of all time. I like to think that we helped a lot of independents during lockdown to really kind of connect with our audience. And I'm hoping it kind of, I'm hoping it kept them going. And something I'm passionate about, and I've put the last 7 years of my life into supporting independents. So I'm really glad to see that lockdown's hopefully ending. There's a roadmap out of this situation, and hopefully when venues can reopen again from April and May onwards, there's a real surge for people to support these brilliant businesses who have kept us going during lockdown, kept us sane. Like when you're kind of sad and a bit down and you thought, like I've got another night of cooking, who was there to help you with that? Like, Birmingham's independents, that they were there delivering the bow buns and fried chicken and the pizza, and kind of giving you the DIY kits so you could have a bit of fun at home, recreating your favorite dishes, and ready to drink cocktails and cans of craft beer and everything like that. So it's been a privilege connecting our audience with that. And in the midst of that, we've kind of cemented ourselves even more as a go-to guide to discovering independent in Birmingham. And it's something that, kind of coming out of the pandemic, we are going to, try even harder to live up to that. So I've been told that I've got a number of questions to be asked. So let's go ahead with that. Yeah, obviously it's been really tough for businesses during the pandemic. I kind of touched on it before, but it was incredibly tough, and people had to adapt so quickly to survive. And unfortunately, not everyone has. There have been a few independents who have had to close their doors for good, and it's really, it's really sad, because they're the kind of people who are the heart and soul of the city. I always say that. It's something that I say quite a lot, like the independents are the lifeblood of this city, and that's why I'm so passionate about it. But I mean, I think the pandemic created this need for people to discover hyperlocal. People were stuck inside their homes. They had to discover the independents who were in their nearest vicinity, because that's where they're getting their food and drink delivered from. And there's the butchers and things as well, and the zero waste grocery stores who are offering people an alternative to standing outside in the rain and going through the rammed supermarkets. And I feel like the pandemic has helped surge this trend of hyperlocal that over the last 2 to 3 years was kind of coming to the forefront. I know if a lot of you have lived and worked in Birmingham over the last kind of 3-4 years, you'll have noticed a surge of independents who are opening up in the city. It seemed, kind of before last year that every week someone was opening up, and it's a really exciting time to live and work in a city, and it was so amazing. And now I think that because people were stuck inside their homes and they couldn't go very far, they had to discover the places that were local to them. And yeah, it's something that I really truly believe is going to be massive in people's lives. And I think people are more conscious now of where stuff comes from, where their food comes from, who they support, and believing in the brands that say something about them and have a kind of clear story and a message. And yeah, I think hyperlocal is something that is going to not just like take off like it already has, but I think it's going to be the prevalent kind of trend or way of life as it is from now on. So yeah, the Solihull expansion is going really well. So we kept it under the Independent Birmingham name because that's obviously where we've got the biggest reach and the the kind of biggest audience and things like that. And it was something I wanted to do for a while. But I was kind of waiting for the right time. There's only two of us who run Independent Birmingham. I ran it myself for 4.5 years on my own, and now I finally have someone who runs it with me. And it's 75 to 80 hour grueling weeks and things. We don't kind of really take days off. I kind of have half a day off a week and stuff. So there's already so much going on in the areas that we covered there. It was quite hard to kind of branch out and trying to encompass more, but it's something that I noticed more people were asking for. So yeah, and we had a number of people saying when you're kind of gonna encompass Solihull, like when's that happening? And Hampton Manor, who featured at our previous Independent Birmingham Festival at Aston Hall, that they kind of said, oh yeah, like when can we join? And I'm a big fan of theirs, so I was kind of like, yeah, soon. And yeah, so we launched it. We launched in Solihull, and yeah, it's gone really terrific, really well. Like we've got about 10 to 15 independents from across Solihull who've joined the app, offering amazing discounts and deals. Encouraging people to physically visit them. But then the pandemic hit, and things have kind of slowed down on that front because obviously venues aren't open, and our app's not geared towards online sales as much. It's hard for someone to know that someone's got the app online. So I always, when I created the Independent Birmingham membership card, I was 22, and I didn't kind of, have that much of a clue. And over the years, it's evolved, but there's still an aspect of it's a simple product, and so the app, there's no way to tell if someone has it online. You're meant to turn up to a venue and show it, and it's meant to get people into venues. That was the whole point behind it. And so yeah, during lockdown, that's obviously slowed, and we haven't really added many people to the app. We've added a number, and we've got a lot on the way who are joining over the next few weeks as places start to reopen. But yeah, so somewhere that's got some really exciting independents, and it's quite a large borough, so I can't wait to kind of really jump in and start adding more of them to the app and getting people from Birmingham and those suburbs to Solihull and vice versa, and kind of get as many people across Birmingham and Solihull supporting all of the independents in those areas. What do you think can be done with the space? John Lewis, all sorts. It's massive. I mean, it's tough because obviously, like, the owners of Grand Central will try to charge quite a large amount of rent for that. But there's so many interesting things that could happen with that. Like there could be areas where there's independent retail, so they could have areas that are dedicated to indie creatives and makers who have amazing kind of wares that range from everything from vases, like ceramic vases, to prints, to t-shirts and caps and glassware and everything like that. There's so many aspects of independent, and that could be housed there. They could have rotating food traders in there, make it into a giant food court. There's so many possibilities. It's hard to encourage people to take a punt on independence. For some reason, there's this stigma that if you're an independent business, you're less reliable than a big chain. But I think the trend has shown that the big chains are the ones who come to the city and then they close down. So, we've seen chains come to the city because they think, oh, it's so exciting. There's so many independents here who are at the forefront, who are driving things forward. And you see a number of them try to replicate what these independents are doing. And then, yeah, they end up struggling. And, Byron Burger was a big one. Everyone kind of was like, oh, they're coming to the city and that, there are a lot of independent alternatives. And they really struggled. So I think landlords should take more of a punt on independence. I don't think that perceived risk value of, oh, I'm not going to get my rent is there. I really don't believe in that. So I would like it to be some like a hub of independence, but I'm gonna be a bit reserved about it because I don't think there are people who are going to make that happen, to be honest. Okay, so how can people help support independence during the last month's lockdown and as they begin to reopen? Well, if you head to the Independent Birmingham website, independent-birmingham.co.uk, we have the article on there, a terrific resource that denotes a large array of independents across Birmingham and Solihull who offer takeaway, delivery, and collection services. So yeah, if you fancy some food one night, you can order a takeaway delivered directly to your door if you're not confident to go out, or you can get a DIY kit from one of your favorite independents who, so you can replicate your favorite dishes at home. The microbreweries across the city are sending out cans of their amazing local produce and things. And yeah, then on top of that, there's the creatives. So if you have a blank space on your wall and you want something beautiful, you can discover some amazing independents who kind of create beautiful prints and things like that. And it's not just that, like you can also buy vouchers to be used at a future date. And obviously, like the pandemic's hit people quite a lot, so there are free ways to support independence. You can be really active on social media, you can save their posts, you can like them, you can share them with your friends, and encourage other people to discover and support them. There are so many ways you can support independent, and it doesn't always involve money. But yeah, that's it. Head to the website. It's got a really terrific database on there of independents, and that's just a starting point. And you can kind of discover some of your favorites out and about and things as well. As long as you're keeping safe and within the rules. There's no reason why you can't kind of walk around your local area and discover some fabulous independents. In terms of as places start to reopen, yeah, that's great. I mean, obviously, what I would say is book into your favorite bars and restaurants. Try to help people as much as possible. Obviously, not everyone's going to be comfortable going out and about at that point. If someone isn't, leave them to it. Not everyone's going to be comfortable going out and about. But what I will say is, if you do book into somewhere, please make sure you turn up. That's going to be one of the most harmful things to an independent business who's, kind of just coming out of the other side of the lockdown, is if they get a load of people booking on an impulse and going, yeah, I really want to go to this place. And then, you don't turn up because you booked like 5 or 6 different places on the same weekend. That's going to be extremely detrimental to these independents. So I'd say, kind of be safe, be kind. Everyone's in the same boat. It's a really tough situation. People are stressed, people are upset. And, the people at these venues, they're trying to be as safe as possible, but they ask you to wear a mask because that's rules. Please wear a mask. It's the rules and things like that. And I think kind of if someone doesn't quite get it right, instead of, going to social media and slamming them, just quietly message them and say, hey, I kind of noticed this when I was visiting. Potentially it needs to be amended or you need to look into it. And yeah, I'd just say, you know what? We've got this amazing article on our website that tells you the very best independents across Birmingham with outdoor seating where you can meet your friends. So it's not just restaurants and bars, it's pubs, it's coffee shops. Have a scroll through that list, pick out an area local to you or that takes your fancy, and have a look at some of the independents. And yeah, if something takes your fancy or if you've never heard of them before and you like the look of them, book in. And yeah, within what you can, try and just support as many independents as possible because they really do need us now. now more than ever, it's a really important time to help our city's independence, because they won't all make it otherwise, and the city will be poorer for it. How can we encourage them to return, or will that help? Yeah, it's really sad. And last night, Little Blackwood in Moseley announced that they're unable to open their doors again, and it's really tough. I mean, some independents who close their doors won't be coming back. Others will be adapting their business either to online or to doing private catering or something like that. So in terms of Little Blackwood, they put out a post which we shared that said they were unable to reopen again, but they were going to do private catering, and that's a way to support them. And essentially, if enough people support them that way, they'll be able to reopen in a physical venue once again. But if your favorite independent's sadly gone, and you still want to support them, like perhaps they're online, and you can discover them online, or they're opening something else under a different iteration or different name, and you can go and support that. But yeah, it's a really tough time for everyone. So the most you can do, it really does help, even if it's only something small, and you donate to a charity, or you buy a gift voucher for a future date, or you just tell your friends about some places. Every little does help, and it really does make a difference. So yeah, please come get out there and support as much as possible.
And I've popped up.
Hey. Yeah.
Thanks, Joe. So first of all, obviously, my sincere apologies for even the fact that I knew you had 100,000 subscribers. I still, in all my haste, managed to say 10, which is a long shot, a long way far off. I think there's just a couple of thanks very much. It was really sort of it was really interesting hearing you talk about it. There's similar kind of questions to it. I think maybe the ones that we've had, but I think the number one. When I first moved here, I started asking various indies about this. But for anybody that is thinking of starting an independent business or has one who is watching tonight, how do they approach you for partnership of these of the schemes that you have?
Just email. Try not to message over like Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We get thousands of notifications a day and so many like direct messages. It's quite exhausting trying to keep up with it all, because just on Twitter we get the kind of 20+ notification thing about every 20 seconds, and we do miss things. There's only 2 of us, and it is very hard, and we do have a lot of people looking to join, and a lot of people messaging us about stuff, not just the festival but about cars, like asking for recommendations and things. But the best way is just to head to the website. There's a contact form on there, and yeah, I mean, hopefully I'll get back to you within a short time. And yeah, that's the easiest way for
me. Cool. And also you did one of the things that I saw you announced a couple of days ago was the massive return of the IB festival. I went to the it can't be the last one, was it? I went to the Bond Company one.
No, the last one was the 2019 Aston Hall. The one before that was probably the Bond. But yeah, we launched that because we were meant to do 2 festivals last year. It's about the maximum I can handle. Events just break me. They're really hard, and I have really kind of tremendous respect for people who run events companies, that they are very hard to put on. And so we announced the return of the Independent Birmingham Festival at Aston Hall. It's just a weekend-long celebration of all things independent at the most iconic, stunning, like Grade 1 listed Jacobean Manor. That's Aston Hall, and they're brilliant grounds. And yeah, we've the Saturday daytime session sold out, and we've done over 3/4 of the tickets are sold in just over a week. So the response has been really terrific. And
I can imagine if anyone's thinking of a perfect way to come out of the pandemic blues, I mean, surely that's got to be. I think my wife had her first original Patty Man at the Bond Company, which was at the IB Festival, and you mentioned that Byron had gone under. So I mean, really, that story writes itself, really. I think. So We've only got a couple of minutes left, so I think the last kind of one question for me is you mentioned that you started this in sort of 2013, 2014. How do you get you're originally, I mean, really, you're almost like a sort of a new media organization now of a different style of media. How do you get funding to be able to do this? Is it just from advertising, or are there other venue like avenues?
Yeah, I mean, like the way the website's funded is by people signing up for the Independent Birmingham app. That's our kind of main source of income for running this. $1.99 a month, and it gives you access to up to 25% off, 2 for 1, like freebies at over 140 different independents across Birmingham and Solihull. And it's not just a tool for supporting independents, but it also enables us to keep doing what we're doing and keep this vital platform alive for supporting independents. And that's it, really. Obviously, the festivals are there to generate income, but sometimes they break even and things, despite the terrific kind of turnout we have, that they're very costly to put on. They're more for showcasing the city and kind of championing Birmingham's independence and being a physical embodiment of the brand, rather than kind of us trying to like scoop in loads of money and things like that.
Yeah, I think I could say, I mean, from the event space, in terms of what I do is developer relations, and that involves speaking in lots of events. And I've got to say, in the tech world, where you think there's loads of economy and money, it's exactly this. If you break even, it's like the best thing ever. That's just, no one's sort of raking in the cash. Right. Okay. So thank you very much, Joe. We've kind of run out of time. Thank you for the questions, everyone. Apologies if we couldn't answer them, if we couldn't ask them all. But if you've got any more questions, go to Independent Birmingham, or contact Joe, or send them a message on Twitter or on Facebook, on the socials. That was really awesome. Thank you very much.